Hey guys, today I'm doing a triple movie review because this has to be a big one. I haven't done one in a bit, and I have five movies actually to review, but I'm going to do this video with three and then two animated movies in the next one. Maybe three animated movies now that I think about it. But yeah, I haven't seen Emilia Perez yet, so you have to wait for that, and that video is going to be in Spanish for sure. I'm usually not doing videos in Spanish for movies because I don't feel many people are getting to them as fast as people in Europe or the United States, mainly because the distribution is different for Latin America, for example. So I'm doing these videos mostly in English as I have always done. But if it's a very new movie, like a Marvel movie, or maybe something that really speaks to a Spanish-speaking audience, I'm going to do it in Spanish. But whatever. The first movie that I'm going to talk about is Anora. Anora is directed by Sean Baker, and he also wrote the screenplay. He directed the movie. He's a producer in it, and he's also the editor in it. And if I'm not mistaken, he's actually nominated for Academy Awards for every single thing he did in that movie, which is kind of amazing because this movie is just brilliant. I have to just started with that. This movie is amazing. This movie is beautiful. This movie is full of heart. This movie is hilarious. It's just such a beautiful way to show the life of one person and to show why it matters basically because I mean it's the story again of a woman, a very young woman that works as a stripper in a club, and she is introduced to this very young also Russian like kid, basically like a Russian young oligarch. And he says, I mean, his parents are the ones with money, but we never really understand what kind of money it is, if they are just Russian oligarchs or maybe they're in the Russian mob or something. We don't really know. But we do know that he's loaded and she's, smitten. She's fascinated with his life and his wealth. And he slowly, like, really, really gets on with her. And, at the start, they just have sex and he pays her for that time with him. And then he realizes, he asks her to go to a trip with him, and eventually it all escalates, and the movie is involved, the family of him, his family is involved, and it's quite a ride. It's quite I would almost really call it a road trip movie for a good chunk of the movie, but at the start it's really the two of them knowing each other. And I mean, Mikey Madison, who's the young woman in this movie, she's just amazing. She's a fantastic actress. I have seen many interviews with her, and she's just so intelligent in the way that she feels and then the way she connects with her character. Maybe you have seen her in Scream, the one that actually was with Courtney Cox and the original actress whose name I cannot remember right now, which is horrible, but I cannot really. Neve Campbell. Not the last one, but the one before that. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I didn't remember. I didn't recall her in that movie because she's one of the women that works with the murderer, if you will. But that movie changes reality so much that I don't blame you if you hadn't seen her, if you didn't, remember her. But she dies in a hilarious way in that movie, so maybe that's and in also in Scream. So it's kind of funny that she always dies except in Anora, basically. She always has a fantastic end in every movie that she has been. Let's just say that. And I'm very, very, very eager to see where her career is going. To be honest, at the beginning of everything of this award season, she seemed to be the one to beat for her Best Actress Academy Award. I mean, sadly or not, I guess, Demi Moore has been leading the latest, conversations, and she, has that do narrative that people really love. So I think Demi Moore is going to win the Academy Award, but Mikey Madison did something amazing with a character that we often ignore and often qualify as easy, basically. And I'm very glad that she had this opportunity, that Sean Baker saw something different in her, and something that she could really put her hands on, basically. And I'm really glad for all the nominations for this movie. I have to check here. It's nominated for 6 Academy Awards, which are, directing, best picture, best actress, best film editing, best original screenplay, and I think and best supporting actor for Yura Borisov. And Yura Borisov is, or Borisov, I don't know how you pronounce it in Russian, but he's an amazing actor. I mean, his performance is really small, and I have seen many people complaining online that he doesn't do that much in the movie. Why is he nominated? And the same narrative for Isabella Rossellini, and I think that's stupid. I mean, the fact that you have a small role in a movie doesn't mean that it's not pivotal and that you cannot do a whole lot with it. I mean, what Yura Borisov does with his expressions, his eyes, his physicality, basically, it's amazing. It's really, he creates a connection with Anora in such a beautiful way, in a modern way also. And I really love that character. And he's gorgeous. I mean, he's really beautiful, which really helps. But there are two gorgeous people in this movie, and also the guy that plays the young Russian guy. It's also really cute. But it's a very entertaining movie all around. So I'm really happy for Anora, and I hope it wins a lot of awards. I think it might win two Academy Awards, maybe three. But I do think that film editing and best original screenplay are the best options for this movie. So now we move on to A Real Pain. A Real Pain was nominated only for 2 Academy Awards, and it tells the story of two cousins that go on a trip to Poland because their grandmother was from Poland, but she escaped that country because of World War II, basically. So they really want to know what the town and what the place where she grew up in was like. And they are two very different people. One of them is married. He has a daughter, I think, or maybe two children. I don't remember, and or a son. I don't really remember. He has a child, and the other one has been drifting for a while, and we slowly understand why he has been drifting. And it's a very beautiful movie. It's a very intimate movie, and it's a very also a road trip movie, which is kind of interesting, I have to say. In all of these three movies there are trips, which is very curious. But in this movie, it's a trip of the tour going to Poland, and it starts in an airport and it ends in an airport, which I think is very smart. Jesse Eisenberg plays the lead in this movie, and actually he wrote the screenplay. Which I mean, he is nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, which could be his first Academy Award. We don't know. I mean, I think Anora deserves it a little bit more, but A Real Pain is really popular. I mean, it only got 2 Academy Awards, but it's really popular. And Jesse Eisenberg directs this movie also, and he directs it so beautifully. I mean, it really shows that it's a subject close to his heart, which I mean, he's Jewish, of course, so it's really close to him, and I think that's very beautiful. And then you have Kieran Culkin, who portrays his cousin, who is, I mean, they show him having basically very difficult ways about him. I mean, he has suffered a bit, and he has gone through some difficult things, and he's a different kind of person. And I think we all know people like him. And he has very hard scenes in which he has to be just an annoying pain in the ass. So that's the double meaning of the title, because a real pain means that he's a real pain in the ass, basically. But it also means that it's a real pain. He feels real pain. He's in pain, basically. And that's what's really curious about him, because when you have these scenes with him, he's been an asshole, but you kind of try to side with him sometimes because he's not. I mean, he's very abrasive and he's very awful to people, but he has a point most of the times. So it's really interesting to have that in there, and I think it's really well written. I mean, I really think Jesse Eisenberg is a fantastic screenwriter, and I hope he writes a lot more and also more intimate movies like this because he's really good. I didn't know Jesse Eisenberg has had this kind of talent, and he's a fantastic actor. I actually preferred his acting to Kieran Culkin's in this movie, but maybe it's because he's directing the movie and he wrote the movie, so maybe that helps. But yeah, I mean, it's a matter of taste. I think Kieran Culkin does a really good job with the character he has and how complicated he is. I don't know if I would give him these many awards, to be honest. I don't think it's that special, but he's going to win the Academy Award for sure. He has been winning everything, so it's a given basically. But I do think that Jesse Eisenberg deserved a nomination for his work as an actor. Of course, he was nominated as a screenwriter, so that's really good. You should watch this because it's a really short movie, which is also so good in these kind of times. Because I mean, every movie has to be 3 hours, and that is fucking long. And then we have the last movie that I saw recently, the most recently actually, and this is Nosferatu, which is directed by Robert Eggers. Robert Eggers has made himself famous for doing horror, but also for really doing moody horror, like the type of horror that is always a period drama. And I think he has said very directly that he doesn't want to do a movie set in the present. Like he cannot think about framing a car or a cell phone. Like he doesn't have that in his brain, and I think that's fabulous. I think that's amazing. If you just want to do period things, just do them. And he apparently he's doing a werewolf movie next. I mean, I don't care what the fuck he does. He's amazing, yeah, doing whatever he does. And something that I always think is fantastic about his movies is cinematography. I mean, I think The Lighthouse was directed by Robert Eggers, and I mean, that was nominated all around because of the cinematography. And also, I mean, I think The Witch and The Northman are other of his movies, and also those movies were praised because of the cinematography. So he really has an eye to choose a right a cinematographer for his projects, which is great. Of course, if you don't know, Nosferatu is based on the film from 1922 called Nosferatu, which is basically illegally based on Dracula. I mean, illegally because at the time in the 20s, they didn't really get the rights to do Dracula, so that's why they called it another name, and it's basically the story of Dracula, but they changed the names of the characters. It's kind of funny, to be honest, that story. You can find videos about it on YouTube. But the interesting thing is how Robert Eggers, yeah, I mean, he does the same. If you have seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was directed by Francis Ford Coppola, it's the same movie, except this one has good acting. I mean, I'm not saying that one doesn't have good acting, but I mean, Winona Ryder doing an accent and Keanu Reeves in that movie is like bad. I mean, it's wild. Gary Oldman is amazing in that movie, but yeah, I mean, some of the acting is not really that great. In this movie, I mean, you have to see this movie for Bill Skarsgård doing his Count Orlok. It's outstanding. The makeup is wild. It's the craziest thing you have ever seen as makeup for a vampire. And then you have, I mean, there's some special effects, but it's mostly prosthetics and makeup. And then you have Lily Rose Depp yelling, doing these grimaces, just contorting all over the place. She is amazing. I mean, physically, she wins all the awards basically because that woman just had to do the craziest things in this movie, and she did them. I mean, like everything. I mean, she has sex. She has like an exorcism. She goes everywhere in this movie, and I think that's fantastic. That any actor is like, I'll do it. I don't care. Just let's do it. And it really belongs in the proper space for the movie, if it works, basically it works, and you have to do it, and you do it, and it just, it's perfect for the movie. So I think that's great from her. She You have to look for Lily Rose Depp, because I mean, Johnny Depp is not working ever again, but maybe his daughter is going to be, just an amazing actress that we are all going to watch from now on. She's really good. Nicholas Hoult is in this movie. Emma Corrin, or Corinne, I don't really know how you pronounce her name. Aaron Taylor Johnson, and look, Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm just going to check him out. I mean, he's hot as fuck. I don't think he's a particularly great actor, to be honest, but he's hot, and that's all I care, basically. Nicholas Hoult is a cute guy. I don't think he's particularly that talented, to be honest, as an actor, but he does fit the role that he has in this movie. So that's great. And Emma Corrin, I mean, girl, I mean, she did Princess Diana, and she's just perfect for any period drama, basically. So she's really, really well casting here. And then we have Willem Dafoe, who plays basically like I don't remember the guy that chases Dracula. Basically, he's basically that character, and it's amazing. I mean, I love the fact that he was nominated for last year for Poor Things, because Willem Dafoe is that bitch. Basically, he's a fantastic actor. He really gets in the role. It doesn't matter what he has to do. He just dives in, and he trusts his directors and his fellow actors, and you can see that. I think that's Willem Dafoe is one of those amazing actors, character actors, and you have to check him out. He's really good in Van Helsing. He's basically Van Helsing in this movie. And of course, this movie was nominated for 4 Academy Awards: Best Cinematography again, which is gorgeous in this movie. A little bit dark at some times. I mean, dark in the lighting, I mean, but it's really good. Costume design, so good, especially with Lily Rose Depp and Emma Corrin. Best production design, impeccable. I mean, you have never seen Germany in the 19th century like this. It's so gorgeous, and I mean, so gorgeous in the sense that it's dark and horrible, and Romania and whatever. And best makeup, I mean, best makeup is between The Substance and Nosferatu. And I need Nosferatu to win something. And I hope that's production design. I think it's the best option it has, because costume design, it's going to be wicked. And cinematography, maybe, but some people are choosing other things. And I think Doom Part 2 was not nominated for that award, so who the fuck knows, basically. But this movie deserves everything. It's scary, but it's not like super scary, to be honest, but it's kind of gross at times. The ending is gorgeous. I mean, it's beautiful, it's horrific, but it just works, and it's so gorgeous. I think it's very smart how it ends, and it's the original ending. I think everything is so good about this movie. It's really an enjoy. You enjoy the ride, basically, and I knew I was going to love it, because I really like period dramas like this. But it's really good, and it's not like body horror or like heavy horror. It's just like psychological, and I think that's a very good take for basically a vampire that can control you from afar, which is basically the story. So that's really great. I'd really advise you to watch Anora, to watch Nosferatu, and to watch A Real Pain. These three movies are so good. I think Nosferatu and A Real Pain should have been nominated for Best Picture, and I don't care about anything else. I think Bill Skarsgård should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, basically, because he's amazing in this movie. I mean, so many good movies, and they nominate. I mean, I will watch Emilia Perez, but I know I'm not going to like it. So I have my favorites. I mean, Anora is one of my, I think it's so far my favorite movie from 2024, but I still have to watch other movies. I haven't seen The Brutalist. I haven't seen some other movies, so let's see what happens. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. It's a bit long, but it's 3 movies, and I hope to do another video with animated films, 3 animated films that are all nominated for Best Animated Feature Film. Thank you so much. Goodbye.